Today, we're joined by Kristin Hutcherson from Ecommengine, a seasoned expert with a decade of experience in building relationships and driving sales growth. Ecommengine has been a key player in the Amazon space since 2007, creating softwares like Feedback 5 to help sellers manage their reviews and feedback efficiently. They also offer components like Seller Plus, or Seller Pulse, for listing alerts, and Restock Pro for optimizing inventory. And in today's session, we'll uncover how Kristin's insights and Ecomengine's tools can elevate your Amazon operations, mostly focusing on feedback. And we might be able to touch a little bit on the inventory and proactive strategies of the listing adjustments. So sit back and join us while we gain some valuable strategies that hopefully will help you thrive on Amazon. And let's dive right in.
All right. Well, great. Hi, Ian. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing all right, Kristin. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Sure. Well, thanks for having me. You are correct. We have been in business since 2007, and we provide software for Amazon sellers and brands. So we've been at it for a while. The Feedback 5 tool, which I plan on talking to you a little bit about today, actually was the first in the marketplace for a review tool, an automated review tool. So we have been in the business for quite some time, and I wanted to talk to you all a little bit about how to get good reviews and why they're important. With Prime Day right around the corner, you should be doing a lot of things to prepare, and one of those would be to make sure you're getting the reviews.
Okay. I mean, I know that Ecommengine has been, doing this for years. Being one of the first on the market is a big thing, especially when we're talking about what I think is a part of Amazon selling that we often kind of kick to the side because there's so many other things to manage, from the listings themselves to making sure they get fulfilled properly and managing Seller Central. But, reviews are something that just kind of happen. Like, why do I even care about reviews?
Well, you should definitely care about reviews, and the things that you should care about are the quality of your reviews. You should also be concerned about the quantity of your reviews, and you also want, current up-to-date reviews. And those kind of 3 points lead to, success. What is true is that 80% of reviews that are left after the shopper has gotten an email asking for a review. So a lot of folks kind of hope that they can get those reviews organically, which, yes, you might get some here or there. But it's really important to try to proactively get reviews, whether it's, say, using a tool like Feedback 5, like our tool, which automates the email campaign so you can get your reviews, or even in Seller Central, Amazon has their own feedback and review template in there that you could actually manually send out from Seller Central. So it's definitely a lot of work because you would have to click it after every sale within your store, but that's one way you could do it. And then, of course, the best way would be to automate that because, Prime Day can have a significant impact on your reviews. So by automating it, you can kind of set the campaign and leave it, and it's getting done.
Yeah, I guess when you really think about it, reviews can be really important. Even when I'm, shopping at Target and I see an item and that I've never seen before that I think might be cool, I oftentimes will, hop into the Amazon app just to kind of see what people are saying about it, right?
Absolutely. And not to be like a statistician here, but I will say that 73% of consumers actually look at the recent reviews before they buy something. I mean, I know I do as a shopper, and I'll do the same thing that you do. I'll look at reviews on Amazon if I'm within a store too. So, it's really important to have, recent reviews. It provides, social proof for your shoppers, even good and bad. So, those newer reviews, and because they're fresh, are really going to be the most important.
That's super interesting. Because sometimes I really like trying to put myself in the shoes of the consumer because I'm also a consumer. We all are. And oftentimes, I don't leave a review. Let's put it this way. Oftentimes when I do find myself leaving reviews, it's because something bad happened, and I'm thinking of a bad experience at a restaurant on a Yelp kind of thing. What do you think about asking people for reviews in terms of that? Because I think that's the general habit for most people. Is that a reason to kind of shy away from it? Or is it even more important to try to?
No, it's even more important. And, if you have an automated tool, like say you have a particular product that hasn't had a lot of luck, and if maybe there's, it's not quite the right product and you seem to be getting a lot of negative, that could be one that you could exclude even from your campaign. So if you kind of figure out what might be wrong with that particular product, but the key is, and even if you do get negative reviews, there's ways to try to resolve that. While you can't get that negative review removed, there's ways that you can try to rectify it with your buyer and try to improve that review or get that review updated. I mean, the most important thing, or, any tips that I might have about getting reviews would be you want to have a great product first and foremost. You want to be sending out the review request within the time period, 30 days. Other ways that you can get reviews would even be by, if you've got a new product that you're launching, you could try Amazon Vine. You can get free Amazon Vine reviews, I think up to 2 per parent ASIN, and those might not be a lot of Vine. You might not get a lot of Vine reviews, but they're very high quality reviews too, and they go a long way. And you also want to make sure that your product listing is clear and detailed so that people know what they're getting when they buy.
Okay. And so, let's run with that. I start to get reviews coming in, I have the content on the listings page set up correctly. Is this something that I need as a seller to, do myself, or put a member of my team to check on reviews and not only request them, but do I need to respond? Do I always need to respond? What moments should I and should I not?
Sure.
How does that kind of work?
This is something, it's a pretty easy tool to use, and it's really something that you can manage on your own. It's not something you'll necessarily have to go into the tool every day, all day long. It's kind of more of a set it and leave it. And then you can set different alerts so you can be notified if you get that negative feedback, and you can respond to it immediately, or you can even respond to it kind of in a daily digest. I can share my screen with you for a few minutes if you want, and I'll just show you a few quick screenshots if that's helpful.
Please, I'd love to see it.
Okay, let's see here. Okay, so that's just our pretty logo there for Feedback 5. But, I just wanted to highlight here that it's more than just a feedback tool. You can automate the requests, like I said, these email campaigns. You can monitor product reviews on ASINs. You can even monitor your competitors. So if you're thinking about maybe adding a new product, you can monitor your competitor ASINs, and you can get these various types of alerts that I mentioned. So if you want to be notified if you have something negative, or even if you want to respond because you've gotten a positive one, we all appreciate that. You can do that as well. And then you can see some really great analytics within the tool too. So I'll just share with you, this is just kind of a brief overview of how an email campaign is set up. So you can set it up using that exact same button that you might see in Seller Central. That's that Amazon feedback and review template. And we have that as a default in our Feedback 5 tool, mainly because we know it's 100% compliant. You can customize emails to go out, but we do really encourage you to use this template just because it is, again, 100% compliant. You really have to make sure you're following all the terms and the guidelines that Amazon has set in place to get reviews. You can't solicit buyers saying, please give me a 5-star review. That's breaking the term.
That's a no-no.
Absolutely. And you can, for example, you can only ask once for a review. You can't ask more than once for a review from a customer.
It's once per sale. So if I have a returning customer, I can ask once.
Yes, you can ask again if it's a repeat customer. So this is the template that you would set up. You can even set up your timing, which is great. And there's a drop down here that allows you to send it. So for example, if you're selling a kid's toy, you probably know within a relatively short period of time, a few days or so, whether or not you like that toy. If maybe you're a supplement provider, you may need closer to 30 days just because you want to make sure that supplement's working for you. So you can set the timing however you want. And then you can put your time in the evening. A lot of times we recommend doing evenings, setting these campaigns up just because it's at the end of the day. People have more time to focus on responding to things rather than doing it in the middle of your work day or first thing in the morning, that sort of thing. So this is just the campaign, and then you hit save and it's ready to go, and it will go out to every order that's made in Seller Central. This is the way that you can also edit a campaign and show there's different rules too that you can apply. So you could send, say, for specific products, if you were having a sale, you could send only to FBA or MFN. So there's a variety of rules. So it's really flexible to do what you need to do when you're within the tool.
Interesting. And so as a consumer, I get this email. The email contains a special link that will take me to an Amazon.com page, I assume?
Correct. And it will show you the image of the store name, the image of what you've just purchased, and then it gives you, it's just the quick and easy buttons, click to the number of stars. So it's super easy, and you'll get that in your email. And this is just kind of a highlight as for the business owner or the seller. You can see the campaign analytics here. So you can look over time on the days that you've sent emails, and you can see your positive and negative reviews and how they've affected your sales over time.
Okay.
And all of these things can be downloaded into CSV files, and you can run various reports based on your analytics.
I love that. Being able to really slice and dice the data as needed.
Yes, you can. And you can look at your, top selling products. You can look at your lowest reviews, your highest reviews. You can see the feedback. And this is where you'd set your alerts here. So you could set it for your positive feedback, your negative feedback. You can request that it's a daily digest, or you can request that you get the reviews individually if you wanted. So that's just kind of a little bit of a highlight of what it means to automate reviews, so you don't have to be doing it manually within Seller Central.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like, especially if you're having hundreds or thousands of orders a day, doing anything manually in Seller Central is going to be a massive headache.
Absolutely.
But, I'm thinking about the graph that you had shown just a bit earlier, and, you could see that there are times where on some days you're getting higher reviews and higher sales, and, and some days you're getting low reviews, and some days it's a lot lower. Do you have any tips for how I might be able to get more reviews if I see those days that are going low? Like, does it just have to do with, tweaking times of day? Because it sounds like the content is all the same.
So you're right. So sometimes we do. So we have a great customer success team that once you get up and running, if you're not seeing the reviews that you really were expecting to see, we can do account reviews and try to really help you optimize your account. Sometimes we do say you can kind of do a bit of an A/B testing, I guess, where you could say maybe take all of your odd ASINs and maybe set up a campaign for the evenings, and then set up your even ASINs for maybe in the mornings, and just see which ones you're getting better feedback on. So you can kind of play around with it a little bit. You just have to make sure, you're, again, following all the policies and guidelines. Maybe trying to think, sometimes you'll see, the ups and downs just based on seasonality.
Sure.
Certainly timing can be played with quite a bit. Also, like I said, depending on the type of product you're selling, maybe you're asking for a review too soon for somebody to really determine. I had a customer that sold wheels, and they were sending it too soon. And by the time they got their wheels, they then had to make an appointment with their car place to make sure the wheels were on the car so they could see the look of the wheels on the car. So they were sending it out too soon for anyone to be able to provide real feedback. So it's things like that, forgetting the other steps.
And I guess it's a combination because, I love that example of like wheels and tires for a car. The example that I was thinking about had to do with a client that I spoke to recently who sells hardware equipment.
Oh, yeah.
And I can imagine that if you just buy a new tool of some sort, you might not know on day one if it's the right tool or the right fit or the right quality. You might be able to understand, but you might not be ready to give a review. And then on top of that, you have to make sure that you might be catching these guys at the right time. Oftentimes people working in construction, for example, are up really early in the morning.
Absolutely. You have to think about your customer. Absolutely. That's great. And what I was going to say too is like, don't panic if you see that you have some negative reviews. Everybody has a bad review from time to time. So while, like I mentioned, while you can't ask your buyer to remove the reviews unless it violates Amazon community guidelines, you can report them. But, as long as you try to and attempt to resolve the buyer's issue with the product, you can request an updated review, which really goes a long way. So, things happen. So, people shouldn't necessarily panic because of that reason.
Yeah. And I think that especially when we're buying things, depending on the price point, consumers can be generally pretty forgiving about one or two bad reviews. I know when I look at a hotel room and I see, a few 1-star reviews, you kind of take it with a grain of salt. So I guess it's important not to kind of freak out about that if you're doing a good enough job on getting, the positive reviews on the other side.
Right. I mean, reviews really kind of impact everything from your product ranking to your inventory planning. You're certainly going to have to plan for more inventory with these positive reviews. I think you're going to see increased sales. And it even affects your advertising strategy. It all really, rolls up to how are you performing out there and what is your reputation as a seller on Amazon?
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. So, Kristin, as we kind of wrap up, this segment of the webinar, is there anything else you'd like to share with us about reviews or Ecommengine in general?
Well, sure. If I can mention, our 2 other tools just in passing, that would be great. This past fall, we just launched our latest tool called Seller Pulse. And what it is it allows you to be notified on various types of listing alerts. So if you had a listing change, for example, you can be notified. You can be notified if you're winning or losing the buy box, which is really big. One of the favorites that our customers have been really using is the hijackers. They've had a lot of people hijack their listings, so they can be notified on that. And then we just opened up our latest alert last week, and it's about dimension changes. So it allows you to be alerted if the dimension has changed, and that way you can request Amazon to do a remeasurement. So that's been a real popular one this week that we were able to announce. So Seller Pulse can be bundled with Feedback 5. And then we're hoping we can bundle it with Restock Pro as well soon. And Restock Pro is our inventory tool, which allows you to manage all of your FBA orders. You can get notifications when it's time to restock. So it tells you when it's time to restock, or you can track your, when the highs and the lows. So then you can be prepared for any types of inventory stock outs.
Oh, that's incredible. It sounds like Ecommengine is kind of touching all these different parts of the Amazon selling experience. And so, having a centralized place to go to solve these kind of nitty-gritty problems is always a huge benefit for sellers of all different sizes.
Absolutely. I really appreciate you giving me an opportunity to share our products and share with you a little bit about how important reviews are.
Yeah. And Kristin, before we go, where can our listeners find you? Where can our viewers find you if they want to test you guys out?
You all can go to our website. It's ecommengine.com, and you'll see all of our tools listed there, or you can always reach out to me directly. I'm on the webpage as well, Kristin Hutcherson, and I'm happy to help you do any demos or anything you'd like.
All right. Fantastic. Well, Kristin, thank you again for coming on and sharing all about Ecommengine and your expertise in the field of reviews.
Thanks so much, Ian.
And for everybody watching this who made it this far, thanks for tuning into another episode of our Seller Snap webinar, where we share advice from our partners from across the Amazon ecosystem. We'll catch you next time.